Let's dive into what is really a quiet revolution happening in the way our cities are being designed. It's all being powered by a new set of digital tools that are giving planners this incredible ability to see the invisible forces that are shaping our neighborhoods and, shaping our lives.
I mean, think about this for a second. It's a question that can literally have life or death consequences during a major heat wave. Why can one part of your city feel like an absolute furnace, while another spot, maybe just a few miles away, is noticeably cooler?
The answer isn't some big mystery. It's actually embedded in the very fabric of our cities. You can see it in the roads, the buildings, the lack of trees. And now, for the first time, we have a set of tools that lets us read that story with just incredible clarity. So yeah, this is the city's, quite literally, burning question. Because these modern challenges, like extreme heat waves, are proving to be way too complex for our old school traditional planning methods. And you can really see the shift right here. We are moving away from the old way of doing things, using static maps and super expensive software just to react to problems after they happen. Instead, we're moving to a new way that's proactive. It's powered by these huge streams of live environmental data and, get this, free open source tools. This lets us make design decisions based on actual evidence, not just a gut feeling. So what exactly is in this new toolkit? Well, it's this powerful combination of three key technologies that work together to give us insights we've just never had before. First up, you've got QGIS. The best way to think about this is like your digital desktop workshop. It's a free, open-source powerhouse. This is the place where planners can pull in all their local data, run really detailed analyses, and design the kinds of maps that tell a compelling story and actually persuade decision makers. Next, there's Google Earth Engine, or GE. And let's be super clear, this is not your everyday Google Maps. This is more like a planetary observatory. It's a cloud platform that gives planners on-demand access to decades of satellite imagery. It lets them analyze an entire continent in seconds without having to download a single massive file. It's wild. And the final piece of the puzzle is artificial intelligence, which acts as this incredible intelligent assistant. You see, AI is breaking down the biggest barrier to using powerful tools like GEE, which has always been coding. Now it can translate a simple question you ask in plain English into a complex script. This basically democratizes planetary scale analysis for pretty much anyone, from a small town planner to a community activist. Okay, so that's the theory. But what's really cool is seeing how these tools actually work together. So let's walk through a case study, and we're going to move from a satellite's view way up in space right down to the neighborhood street to solve that urban heat problem we talked about. So here's how the workflow breaks down. It all starts up in the cloud with GE. You analyze decades of satellite data to generate something called a land surface temperature map, which is basically a map of how hot the ground itself gets. Then you take that regional heat map and bring it down into QGIS, where you can layer it with local data, like census information, to find the areas that are most vulnerable. And this whole thing is possible because the amount of data inside GE is just immense. For our heat study, we'd use the Landsat satellite data, which gives us a thermal record of the entire Earth going all the way back to the 80s. But you could just as easily use other datasets, like Sentinel-2 for super high-resolution green space mapping, or WorldPop to analyze population density. But here's the absolute game changer. The crucial point here is that we are no longer limited to a single static snapshot of a city. The most transformative feature of GE is its ability to easily analyze data over time, the fourth dimension. Planners can finally understand a place's history and see the trajectory it's on. Okay, so you've done all this incredible historical and spatial analysis. Now what? Well, the next step is translating all that data into a real argument for change. This is where we put the map to work. And this quote just nails it perfectly. A map like the one we're building isn't just a technical diagram. It's a persuasive tool. It tells a really clear story backed by solid data, and it's designed to build consensus and actually drive action. So the final result of this whole workflow is what we call a vulnerability map. Back in QGIS, the heat data from GEE gets overlaid with local demographic data. So the map doesn't just show you where it's hot. It shows you where high heat and social vulnerability, like, say, a concentration of elderly residents or low-income households, dangerously intersect. And what this does is it gives city officials this undeniable data-backed evidence. It lets them move beyond just anecdotes and strategically target interventions, things like planting trees, installing cool pavements, or opening up cooling centers, precisely in the spots where they will save the most lives.
The implications of this new toolkit go way beyond a single case study on heat islands. They really signal a fundamental shift in how we can, and probably should, be designing the cities of tomorrow.
Ultimately, when you boil it all down, this entire technological shift is really driving towards one central goal. And that goal is to move the entire profession from being reactive, just solving yesterday's problems, to being proactive and maybe even predictive. By analyzing trends, planners can finally start designing for the challenges that are coming, not just the ones that are already here. This really changes the role of the planner. As AI automates a lot of the heavy lifting of data analysis, the planner is freed up to focus on the things that are uniquely human: strategic thinking, deep community engagement, and navigating all the tough ethical questions that this powerful new vision creates.
Which leaves us with a final and pretty critical question. This new toolkit gives us this almost diagnostic ability to see our city's futures. The power to know is here. So the real challenge now is deciding what kind of future we're going to choose to build with it.